Going to come right at the earthquake. He actually catches the earthquake. That is massive.
Hey everyone, like I mentioned in my last video, I'm going to do a breakdown of all my battles and kind of what I was thinking throughout my matches and kind of why I did what I did and if any of them were misplaced or if any of the plays I made were intentional. Before I go into the specific battles, I just want to talk about how I built my team. And essentially what I want to do is make sure I have a team that's very hard for anyone to bring consistent safe swaps into. And that's why I decided to build my team around a dynamic punch meta champ. Obviously Bastion's one of my favorite Pokemon, but it really originated around this dynamic punch meta champ because against Pokemon like Lickitung, Registeel, and Umbreon, Medicham is actually not the best. You're going to take a lot of neutral damage in that process, and a lot of times you have to give up shields in order to maintain switch advantage. And I always feel like if you have to give up a shield to maintain switch advantage, you are losing a little bit in that regard, and sometimes you could be setting up your opponent for victory. Because of that, I need to protect my Medicham from opposing Medicham because I'm running the Ice Punch and Dynamic Punch. So I have the Sableye, Trevenant, and Noctowl, all three very reliable checks to Medicham. Noctowl is not the best one, so the two Ghosts are probably my best case scenarios here. On top of that, I decided to run a Registeel instead of a Galarian Stunfisk. Registeel being able to grab a shield from a Medicham if they're running that Psychic and Ice Punch combination. Bastion, of course, is going to be a hard loss to that Medicham as well as my own Medicham, but having Bastion helps cover my weakness against things such as Noctowl because I have two Ghost types and a Medicham. Obviously, the team looks good on paper, but you're going to run into some issues because if I don't bring Medicham every time, then people can still easily safe swap Registeel and Umbreon, Lickitung into my team because I don't actually have that as a check. One other weakness that I exposed myself to without Psychic on the Medicham besides the mirror matchup is Azumarill. However, most Azumarill run that Ice Beam Play Rough moveset in this current meta for Show 6, so that's another reason why I could not run the Galarian Stunfisk because Galarian Stunfisk is not going to do great into any of the Charge Move moveset from Azumarill, whereas Registeel is much better into it, and if they are not running the Hydro Pump, Bastion in a way, shape, or form is actually pretty good as an Azumarill check as well. And of course, I have the Trevenant and Noctowl, which is fairly neutral even though you're taking super effective Ice Beam damage. Now that you know why I built the team the way I did, let's get into some battles. Before we get into the battles, a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you would also like to have early access to my strategies and lineups or see behind the scenes footage of my battles, feel free to sign up in the Patreon link down below. Getting into this first battle here against a blepnir. This was round 2 of the winners, so the first set of battles was off stream, but it was a 2-0 against Sosaflow. And then looking at blepnir's team, this one is actually going to give me a little bit of trouble, and there is no clear answer to Sableye, so I knew that my Sableye was going to come into every game, right? Sableye safe swap looked pretty good. Even the lead, it could be pretty good. I didn't know the Mawile moveset at the time, but even with Fairy Wind, it's not too bad. So as you can see here, terrible lead for me, so I'm going to come in with the Sableye, and I'm going to shield this, and luckily it is a Thunderbolt here too. But as you can see, the backline's not super favorable for me either. I'm going to go straight for the foul play, expecting potentially a shield here. And it actually was going to be no shielded, but that's fine. And we're going to go for another one. Sometimes it might be worth going for a return there, but just kind of a big gamble if they do shield. And you just lose out so much energy here too. So I'm going to let this Surf go through. The longer we stall here, in my mind, the better it is because Lantern is the hard answer for my Noctowl. But here comes a Mawile, and this is all going to be resisted damage, although Mawile even resists not too bad. And looking back on this now, I choose not to shield this Play Rough. I'm thinking, okay, even if it's an Iron Head or Play Rough, I don't really have too much use for this Noctowl, but this Noctowl actually has a lot more play than I thought it did because of how much energy I had. And on top of that too, the Lantern was chunked quite a bit here. I'm thinking, okay, that's one counter to Trev. There's likely another counter, so what I really need to do is grab this last shield from blepnir, and then my Trevenant with a Shadow Ball can probably take out anything in the back. Unfortunately, he doesn't shield, and it's exactly what I was fearful of. It's just that Shadow Gliscor. So unfortunately, we just didn't have the alignment we wanted. But maybe there would have been some play if I burned my last shield there. I don't know. It would have been kind of tough. As you see, I try to potentially catch a move there. That's not going to happen. And yeah, we're just going to let this one go. So this is going to be a tough one. Alignment-wise, it was just not on our side. But I don't know. maybe there could have been a way I could play that out. Just looking back on this, though, I'm thinking, okay, Trevenant is actually really hard to bring here. And so maybe I don't play as risky in game number 2 and 3 because I can't really go get RPS in any of these future games if I want to stay in the winner's bracket. So yeah, so this is a tough first round loss there, or first game loss. But as we adjust for game number 2, so I'm thinking, okay, I definitely need the Sableye in there. My Medichamp's not too bad. It's got some decent play against the Lantern, and then now that I know that's a Fire Flame Mawile, my Medicham has some play, and the Noctowl is very strong for neutral into Gliscor. I didn't really have any true checks to Gliscor, so I had to rely on neutral damage like Noctowl. They can't go Earthquake against me, or I guess he could, but it's not going to be ideal. And so yeah, so I'm going to let this Foul Play go as well. My Medicham is not too bad here, and my Medicham also has Ice Punch, so there's some reliable check there. And then he actually comes in with the Mawile here, so this is not too bad. I don't actually know if I win CMP or not. Maybe he didn't want to risk it as well, but now we are going to come in with this Medicham, and now that I know that there is that Play Rough, I'm going to counter all the way down, come out with a bunch of energy here, and I'm going to be forced to shield this, but I think it's probably worth it still because there's a Sableye in the back, and I knew the Sableye had a move, so I didn't want to throw right away because I know I lose CMP. But he doesn't throw right away either, which really threw me off. So I end up still CMPing here, which is a little unfortunate because now I'm forced to burn a shield. I mean, I probably had to burn a shield anyway, but I don't know. I guess I could have grabbed one of his shields actually if I just threw there. I just didn't think that he would actually throw a Shadow Claw. I thought he would just go straight for Foul Play. But either way, I'm thinking, all right, I just need to grab both shields here or do a lot of damage with Ice Punch. And then now I have the Noctowl to potentially finish this off. So I just need to hope that there's no boost. Because a boost here would probably spell disaster for me. Actually, even a boost here wouldn't be the end of the world. Because I can do quite a bit of damage, especially shields down here. And here comes another nice slash. And I'm going to throw a Sky Attack shortly after this. I was debating between Sky Attack and Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball less energy efficient, but does a little bit more damage. If I can get one move off here, but because there was no boost here, I think this is probably valuable. I think Shadow Ball still would have been the better play, though, if you look here. I wouldn't even need to get to this next move. But that's okay. We're able to finish it off here. Not a lot of health on either Pokemon left, but able to keep all three healthy for the end there. But yeah, so able to play around that Gliscor and that Mawile, but still, this matchup is still kind of rough for me. So I'm thinking, all right, so we have that Mawile. I have to watch out for the Gliscor, but I'm going to go in Registeel lead this time around too, and just probably like mostly sack it if need be. It's kind of a check to a couple things. Lantern, kind of a neutral check to the Medicham. I'm going to potentially grab a shield because my own Medicham is quite weak here, and I'm a little worried that because I had that Dynamic Punch, it can be kind of bad. But I guess he never saw Dynamic Punch, so he might still think it's Psychic. Again, the Safe Swap Sableye is pretty good here, and I could tank Night Slashes here. I can't tank an Earthquake, but that's okay. He is going to build up to the Earthquake, and then we actually, it almost looks like we CMP there. I'm actually not sure. If we did, that's fine with me. And yeah, it looks like it was CMP there. So I'm going to let this go. If it's Earthquake, that's fine. If it's not, they're forced to throw another move. So here comes the next move here, and then it is going to be, he is going to get the boost here too, which might be a little tricky for me. But I'm thinking, all right, if there's a Sableye in the back, I really need to keep my shields because I'm going to be in a tough spot if that's not the case. All right, so I'm going to, again, let this go. Not a great situation. Sableye's the worst case scenario, right? Because everything else I'm pretty okay against. I guess this Medicham is also a little weird because I had to watch out for Ice Punch baits when a Psychic can be landing. And then he actually does shield there. We get the attack drop, which I don't think is super relevant here as long as I have shields. I'll finish off with a little bit more health if I win this matchup, and I'll just faint out either way. If even if they did have attack drop but are able to land a foul play. So this is where the Dynamic Punch comes in handy here too. In the first clear time that it has, because Ice Punch would not have cut it. Dynamic Punch, even though resisted, just hits a little bit harder. And it allows me to take out this Sableye in 2 moves. And you can see it was CMP on that first foul play, which is huge because this allows me to avoid getting hit by the second foul play. And looking at the health of his remaining 2 Pokemon, they're all just a counter away. So yeah, able to kind of claw back from this one. Had to eventually bench the Trevenant when I saw the movesets and everything, just to kind of play it safe. Surprised we didn't see the Lantern again, but I think probably still the right call from blepnir's end too, because the Lantern didn't have a ton of play into my final 2 teams. But yeah, we're able to proceed on, and then we played a couple more matches off stream against Munchlax 2000 and Dapperdis, and then now we are in the winners finals here. So this is day 1, undefeated on both ends, Conglaser and myself. And looking at this team, there is no... Oh, no, there's a Galarian Stunfisk. I thought there was no Steel type. But there's that Umbreon and Noctowl, which makes my Trevenant a little scary to use. But Trevenant also has 3 really solid matchups with Medicham, Lantern, Galarian Stunfisk. And then I have to Mirror. So I'm thinking, okay, Trevenant could still be pretty good. I just have to avoid 2 of those Pokemon. But let's see how much he relies on those. And so... yeah, so I think at this point I realize how strong and safe Sableye is against a lot of matchups. So, you know, it's going to beat the Trevenant, go kind of neutral versus the Lantern and Galarian Stunfisk, and then beat the Medicham. And I think, I don't know if Conglaser knew this or not, but at the time I just kind of assumed that most people knew that my Medicham had Dynamic Punch, or had to assume that that might be the case, because I played earlier on stream and everyone saw it in action. So, Secret's out. And I'm thinking Medicham is probably a little bit hard to bring. So yeah, I choose not to bring the Trevenant just because the Noctowl and the Umbreon. Surprisingly, the team is actually pretty good. Trevenant is actually pretty good in this team. Safe swaps a Lantern. Probably assuming that I won't bring Trevenant here. And I'm going to go straight for the return. I figured it probably wouldn't get shielded. And I'd let this move go through too, because at this point, all I need to do is maintain switch advantage, and we should be okay, because we could lock the Noctowl into that Trevenant, and Sableye should be able to come out with some energy as well here too, which is kind of nice. I'm going to throw this right away. I could have overfarmed a little bit, but I just figured, you know, I don't want this Sableye to be super low from the spark damage, but it looks like he is going to spend the shield too, and we can maintain switch advantage, but we are going to have to burn a shield here. And I know that the Trevenant is probably not coming in, so we see a third Pokemon right off the bat, which would be pretty nice. It is going to be a Galarian Stunfisk, which is okay. It's not amazing for me, but I do charge up to when we CMP on the rock side, which is very nice for me when I saw those CMP, because now we are able to kind of avoid them from overfarming here. All right, and then now I come in with this Registeel. And the good news is this thing is within Focus Blast range due to the Shadow Claw damage and the foul play, and so we're in okay spots. And I'm going to throw this first Focus Blast. My Registeel cannot be taken out by Rock Slide here, so they have to go Earthquake again. It's not the most ideal position, but I think even if I get hit by one Rock Slide here on my Noctowl, unless they catch a Shadow Ball, they'll be fine. But they actually end up going Rock Slide instead of the Earthquake, so this really allows me to finish off the Galarian Stunfisk there, and then now we have a very positive matchup, and yeah, that's going to be GG for this first game. So feeling pretty good into that first line. And as I noticed too, that team is super weak to that Trevenant, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe my Trevenant has some play here, but we shall see. I don't know if I actually bring her or not in this next game. I'm trying to think how I'm strategizing around this team. You know, Medicham again, kind of risky to bring here, and it really, I mean, it had an okay matchup in the back end. And this is bad, right? So I do bring in the Medicham, but unfortunately, we get the Mirror Medicham. I just hard lose the Mirror. But if you look at this backline, even if we went even there, I pretty much am still in a very tough spot because I have the well, I guess it would just depend on who won the lead matchup, right? Because I could have potentially got actually no, yeah, no, I don't think it would have mattered too much. Yeah, I think I just lose the back end matchup's not great for me either. I at best case scenario I have a Lantern versus a Sableye and have a Noctowl Mirror. But I would be behind energy if I'm able to win switch or behind a shield. So I think this would have been a tough matchup even if I had Psychic Medicham, but unfortunately for me, I don't even have that. So there's that going on for me. This is not great for me because even if for some reason they had like a Trevenant in the back or something like that, it's not great because Medicham is not the worst matchup into Noctowl, so my Noctowl had to do a ton of work here. And unfortunately, it's the worst case scenario, which is Lantern. So there's just nothing I could have done here. As you see me shaking my head, and yeah, there's not much we can do. I'm just going to throw a Shadow Ball just to see kind of generally what bulk lantern they're running on, and just have a general gauge of how much a Shadow Ball would do against his specific lantern. But yeah, this is not going to be ideal. I'm just going to let it go and just, I don't know, maybe throw another one for good measure, but doesn't want to do too much. All right, so I'm going to have to make an adjustment here. But what I'm looking at here is the team was very weak to Trevenant. It's kind of weak to Trevenant in Game 1, and then it was also kind of weak to Trevenant in Game 2, actually. If I had Trevenant in the back, I'd just sweep the whole team. So this made me realize that I insta-lock in, and I just swap straight away. You can see me just like going straight for it. And I insta-lock in, I remember this moment very clearly, Medicham, Sableye, and Trevenant. And I'm thinking, okay, if he has a Umbreon knockdown back, I just lose, right? There's no way around that. But outside of that, my team has a lot of play because I'm thinking, all right, if he's only bringing the Noctowl, that means that my Sableye can draw it out. Luckily, I do win the lead, so now this means that I'm one counter ahead of this Noctowl. Or I'm not even sure about that, but I might have lost a turn on the switch in. But either way, I'm going to no shield here because I know I win CMP. No, I am one fast move ahead. Yeah, so I'm one counter ahead because they swapped in. And I'm able to grab the shield, which is kind of nice. And now I come in with the Sableye. I can no shield this, no problem. I'm going to save my shields here. And I think I technically get to this foul play. Okay, we CMP here, actually. So I am able to grab a shield, and this really signifies to me that something's going to be weak to the ghost. So I'm going to definitely shield this. Not only this, but because Trevenant just takes so much damage trying to finish off this Noctowl. So it's just not really worth it in my mind. But we do grab both of their shields at this point, and then now I'm going to come in with the Sableye and start throwing foul plays. I'm going to throw as many as I can. I get to another one. Surprisingly, he doesn't throw the rock side, which is nice because this allows me to get off one more foul play and not have to burn a shield for it. And at this point, I'm going to swap to my Medicham. It still has a decent amount of health, and the counters are going to add up. So I force a shield, force the energy here, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to force the energy again on my Sableye. I don't even wait out the switch timer because I don't want him to have the ability to swap out here. And this will draw out all that energy from that Glaring Stunfisk. I'm thinking, okay, I know that Noctowl has a move or is close to one. It's like one wing attack away. And I'm hoping, maybe it's a Medicham in the back. Maybe it's a Lantern in the back. Because they shielded earlier, I knew it could not have been an Umbreon. And at this point, I just charged for a little extra energy. I actually wasn't really doing a great job of counting, so I didn't even realize that we CMP'd there. But turns out I won CMP, so that was good to review later when I was looking at the footage later. So if I ever had to rematch with Conglaser, I knew that my Trevenant at least won CMP versus his, which is pretty useful knowledge. And because that overformed too, I was able to finish off the Noctowl. And so yeah, a lot of people were thinking, wow, Medicham, Sableye, and Trevenant, super weak to Noctowl. And I expected the Noctowl too. I wasn't gambling on him not bringing the Noctowl. I just knew that if he only brings the Noctowl, given how weak his teams were to Trevenant in the previous two games, and how much I brought Sableye, he probably wasn't going to bring his own, which he unfortunately did, but I had a shield advantage, which was nice. I knew that I could draw it out with the Sableye, finish it off with a Medicham, and then try to sweep with a Trevenant. And fortunately, that was exactly what happened. I didn't have to draw out the Noctowl, but I was able to pull it out because I won the lead matchup. All right, going to day number 2 here. So undefeated going to the top 8 here in the winner's bracket, winner's semifinals. We're going against Gucci Gang. And something I've noticed looking at his team is that he doesn't have any true Medicham counters besides his own Medicham. Yeah, Noctowl's pretty good, but Medicham typically wins charging priority there and kind of goes even, as we saw from that last matchup versus Conglaser. And I knew that was a Powder Snow and Low Ninetales given his gameplay from day 1. So what I was thinking about this whole time, especially my game 1 strategy, is I figured there's a strong chance he leads Glaring Stunfisk because my Registeel safe swap looks super good. So what I really need to do is, if he's not bringing the Registeel, doesn't unless I have hard win the lead or unless a Medicham or something decent, if it's not, I'm going to swap straight to Registeel. In all likelihood, he comes in Medicham because nothing else can maintain that switch advantage besides Medicham on his team consistently. Lantern might have some play, but I wasn't really going to expect that. I think Medicham is a clear answer there. And he's running that Ice Punch Psychic combo as well, too. So I was able to I could grab a shield off that Medicham and then essentially give my own Medicham a 2-to-1 shield advantage in the back end to sweep. So as expected, it's going to be a Glaring Stunfisk lead here. And so, I have to kind of shield the Earthquake here. Rockside Bait would be kind of tough, but we're just going to play it out and see. So I'm going to throw this first foul play here. I'm trying to keep track of his energy. I can't really swap the Glaring Stunfisk in here, even though I have a great matchup with my Medicham. Again, the whole point is to draw out the Medicham eventually. And so I'm going to shield this first move, and luckily it is an Earthquake here, which is kind of nice. And then I should be able to get another a shield from him. So he is going to drop this first shield. Now, here's what I'm thinking at this moment. I cannot burn my second shield, because if he has that low Ninetales, I just lose. Shields down, right? He's going to double dash and clean my backhand matchups. So I actually purposely caught a Earthquake, and I'm looking at Twitch chat afterward, and a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, like what a throw and stuff. No, this is exactly what I wanted. Now, if he threw that Earthquake again at my Registeel, then I would have been in trouble. But, you know, like most people, they're going to bring the Medicham. Like, why wouldn't they, right? And now he knows he doesn't have to spend a shield, so this is a great situation for him. But this is exactly what I was looking for, right? So now I'm going to leave this matchup with a lot of energy on my Sableye in case it's, I mean, it could be a low Ninetales, it could be a Noctowl, it could be an Umbreon. All I know is I need to come out with a lot of energy here and then try to set up my Medicham for success, right? Because he doesn't have a Trevenant in the back. So I bet he has a Noctowl, and getting this extra counter is huge, even especially for a Noctowl matchup. And fortunately for me, it's actually low Ninetales. I mean, I guess it wouldn't have mattered even if it was Noctowl. With the energy lead there, I should be able to win that matchup, especially how much energy I had. And I go straight for Dynamic Punch, and I'm going to shield here. Now, obviously, if I call the Weather Ball, that'd be great, but I'm just thinking, all right, you know what? There's no need for me to, like, mess around. I have an energy lead, and there's no need for me to even entertain a potential bait when I could just go for a safe play and shield. Now, that was a great catch by him, but I already knew at this point I won, because I have a return banked. I'm going charge from priority. He has to throw the Dazzling Gleam. That's why I didn't even undercharge Dynamic Punch. I don't want any possible Rock Slide damage or whatever, because I knew he was close to Earthquake at that point. I didn't want to take any extra damage there. I just want to take it out right away so that I wasn't Weather Ball range and I could throw that return. And yeah, so it's a lot more calculated than it probably looks, because catching an Earthquake probably looked like a bad play, but he pretty much played into the strategy I was planning for game 1. And then game 2, I just went with Trevenant Double Steal, and I should make a pretty significant misplay in this one. We'll see in a second too. For those that watched the first footage, you might have picked up on it as well. But this is ideal situation for me, right? Because I just need to maintain switch advantage. I know that in the back, it's got to be a Noctowl or Umbreon or low Ninetales, right? I already knew at that point, so I just need to maintain switch advantage. I should be okay. And so obviously I'm going to shield this one, but landing that first Shadow Ball is huge for me. So I'm just planning on throwing on CMP on this next one, and we should be okay. Unfortunately, I lost track of counts. And so I end up not actually throwing. And now I'm in a really tough spot, because I know the Lone Knight is coming, or Noctowl or whatever. So I had to swap to my Registeel, bring the Medicham back in. I could grab one shield off the Medicham. The problem is I can't grab 2 shields. And so, I mean, unless he lets his Medicham go completely, right? Which seems unlikely. So this is going to be a little scary, because the Ice Punch should threaten me. And I know that I could win CMP and grab 1 shield off of the Medicham. But the problem is, if they CMP me, I'm going to have to tank an Ice Punch some way or another. So we do get a debuff, attack debuff on the Medicham, and that's going to definitely work in my favor, but I'm not sure if I could tank an Ice Punch while debuffed. At this point, I was already starting doing calculations like how much damage does my Bastion have to take to finish this off. But they get double attack drop, which is kind of nice. And again, as expected, I'm going to win charge from priority. I have another one. He knows I have 2, right? So he's going to shield here to ensure that he gets this Ice Punch off. Double debuff. I'm not sure if I handled this or not. But at the same time, I guess it's not the end of the world even if I was taken out, because double debuff Medicham is not going to hurt Bastion as much. It just makes the matchup a lot closer. But because he is catching that C-Bomb there, and luckily because of that double debuff, I'm able to smack it all the way down, have Flamethrower ready for the Medicham, and that'll be GG's. So got a little bit lucky on the debuffs, a little sloppy play on my end. Especially after landing the Shadow Ball, there's really no need for me to have to go down 2 shields against that Glaring Stunfisk. I just lost track of the counts. But yeah, this is going to work in my favor here, and it's going to be good games, yeah, against Gucci Gang here. All right, so we are now going into the winter finals too. Undefeated, going against Ramberto, who is also undefeated as well, my teammate. And I helped build this team too, so I knew it was going to be kind of a tough one, because I was thinking about a lot of threats against this team, and I honestly was thinking about a lot of things on my team when I was helping him build it too. So I was like, well, you probably need more answers like stuff like Trevenant, because when I scrimmed against you earlier when we had a Shadow Swampert, like my Trevenant was pretty free, right? So he brought 2 very strong counters to it. It's going to be that Noctowl and that Umbreon, and yeah, it's going to be weird. The best thing about my team and the worst thing about my team is that Dynamic Punch Medicham. Why I say that is because a lot of things can put pressure on that Medicham, like Umbreon, Galarian Stunfisk. Galarian Stunfisk not so much Registeel really, but I actually didn't really run into a lot of Registeels. It was pretty much just Galarian Stunfisk all day. Galarian Stunfisk is not as big deal because you counter swap that pretty quickly. Sorry, my audio got cut out for a second there. But like I was saying before, because a lot of Medichams are not running a fighting move, or sometimes they run that power punch, but either way, it puts you in a better position if you have that dynamic punch. But at the same time, the scariest part is I lose that mirror matchup. And because I lose that mirror matchup, it gets really weird for me. So with that said, we are going to this first matchup here, and I'm not bringing that Medicham. And he's running a very weak to Medicham in the lead combination. I think he was just thinking about pivoting to that Umbreon. But my team, if I did have that Medicham in the lead, it would be pretty disastrous for him. But he's going to gamble there, and is going to pay off in his favor. And as I said before, you have to go for the Earthquake here to win this matchup against my Registeel. And it's not going to be enough, so I am able to grab this first lead matchup, which is kind of nice for me. But the problem is this backhand matchup is not great. So my Sableye has really nowhere to go. And yeah, as you can see right here, getting snarled down here is not great either. Because this matchup against Noctowl is not favorable for Noctowl, especially if the Umbreon has energy lead. Like a high rank Noctowl could potentially win the zeros and the one shield, but it's not very clean. So I'm thinking at this point, I'm hoping that maybe there's a Trevenant, Medicham, or Frost Lessons back. The one thing I don't want to see is that Noctowl, and unfortunately, that's exactly what it is. Maybe the better play here is to throw the Sky Attacks, because doing double resisted Shadow Calls is much worse than single resisted Shadow Calls, I think. Yeah, I don't know. But either way, we're in a very tough spot here, and this is kind of a tough one to claw back from. But yeah, he ran a very strong against Sableye team. Honestly, nothing's weak to Sableye, right? The worst matchup is that neutral matchup at Stunfisk. But I think, again, he's anticipating the Sableye given how much he's seen me use it on stream and in my battles, and just kind of looking into his team, right? So I think it was the right call. And yeah, put in a very tough position at this point. This does not look very winnable. So we're going to throw the Sky Attack here, but yeah, this is not going to be a good time. And the Noctowl I ran for this tournament was pretty high rank one. So I don't have that breakpoint against Galarian Stunfisk and Azumarill. But I chose to run it, and you'll see in some of these matchups, it definitely comes in handy. And on top of that, the mirror matchup was very important. Because I already knew that I was going to win pretty much most mirrors because of that high ranked Noctowl, and I think it still paid off in the end. But yeah, it was just sometimes it's just not great into Galarian Stunfisk and stuff. And there were a lot of Galarian Stunfisk. Like I said, I think I only ran into one Registeel user. Everyone else, for the most part, was running Galarian Stunfisk into my team. All right, so we are going into the next game here. So I definitely had to make some adjustments. I mean, Medicham looked really strong in that team. Again, Medicham's not that bad against Noctowl even. But I don't bring it. And he actually brought in a Frostlass here too. Frostlass I didn't expect him to bring, so I have Double Steel, Trevenant. I mean, Double Steel and Double Ghost, right? And Trevenant beats a Frostlass as well. So his best matchups are really against my Noctowl and my Medicham. Yeah, so I'm going to let this Earthquake go through here. Again, he has to go for his Earthquake here, so I'm able to grab a shield to win switch. And here comes that Rock Slide. And we're going to let it go. And then now we get to a Focus Blast here. Does he shield is a real question. He does let it go. I think it makes sense because there's no point to really go for a Rock Slide if you're going to just let it go. Or if you're going to shield. I think you just overfarm instead at that point. All right, so he comes in with the Frostlass, and then I am going to come in with my Sableye here, which is going to be quite nice. I'm going to shield, and he actually goes with a Shadow Ball, which is a little surprising. But maybe he just maybe he was hoping I wasn't shielding. I don't know. But I think he told me afterwards that was probably a misplay. And so that gives me a little bit of confidence because I know that he had to burn a lot more energy for that matchup for that to happen. And again, this matchup is not the cleanest for Noctowl, but as long as I can avoid that Frostlass matchup into Noctowl, I'm pretty content here. And yeah, he's going to throw these foul plays, and I'm going to just keep throwing the sky attacks. As you can see, I'm trying to optimize my timing a little bit, which will definitely help this matchup. But yeah, let's see how it goes for the remainder of this battle. As you can see, still going to keep throwing these foul plays. And here comes that Frostlass. And now I'm going to throw my foul play here. I have some energy, which is nice. And again, he burned a lot of energy. But I was kind of losing track of his energy at this point because this Frost has been swapping back and forth. He's actually going for another Shadow Ball. Wow, that's kind of weird. I remember him going for one Shadow Ball. I didn't realize he went for Shadow Ball twice. So that's, yeah. And this is kind of a misplay by me because I didn't realize that he had enough energy at this point. I could just Shadow Call down. But because I threw that move, he was able to get another Powder Snow. And that made my life a little bit harder. And he told me afterward, he's like, you could just Shadow Call down. But again, I lost track of counts. And this is bad. He actually didn't get a Snarl through here. So in theory, he probably should have won this matchup. But I wasn't even paying attention at the time when it happened. And I don't know if he noticed either too. So it's probably disputable. I don't actually know the ruling behind what is disputed or what is considered state of game for the play Pokemon events. But that's definitely something worth disputing, I think, if it does happen. But yeah, unfortunately, that was not disputed, so I was able to kind of sneak away with a win that I probably shouldn't have gotten there. But yeah, we're going to game number 3 here. And it's going to be more favorable for me, which is kind of nice. And unfortunately, I didn't have a clear answer to this Glaring Stunfisk. Of course, Medicham would be kind of nice here, but that's not going to be the case. I'm thinking there's probably a Medicham in the back, which is why I kind of like panic here, so I'm not really sure what to do. I do shield that first Earthquake, but at this point, I don't know if I win the 2 shield scenario here or not. I'm actually unclear on that. Because the problem is the Mudshot added up over 4 shields is going to be much worse, right? And so I actually end up catching a Earthquake on my Sableye here, which is not ideal. Because again, I kind of need the Sableye for that Medicham. So yeah, we're in a tough spot here, and we don't even get the foul play off. So that puts me in a tough spot, and now I had to probably come back in with the Regiseal. Which again, like, it just doesn't really make any sense anymore at this point. I know they don't come in Umbreon to this, and they're going to come in their Medicham, right? So I'm forced to still shield Earthquake. Like, I should have just stayed in and thrown the Earthquake. That probably would have been the winning play there, because then I could lock in the Medicham into the Sableye, and I have the Bastion. All right, so I just need... it doesn't even matter if I land this. It's going to do a good chunk of damage, but I don't think I get 2 off. I need to get 2 off for this to matter, and we don't even get debuff either, so that's not great. But yeah, debuff would have been a little bit nice. He actually undercharged here. I'm not really sure why. Just to get a little bit more extra farm, I guess, in case maybe I had a Noctowl or something in the back. But at this point, I think he knew he won because there's not really anything in the back I have that could finish off this Medicham and Umbreon. Maybe besides my own Medicham, I guess. Like if he lands a Psychic, but I'm able to counter down, or in the, I don't know. His Umbreon still would have a lot of play. Yeah, I just threw the Stone Edge. It doesn't really matter at that point. It was mainly just in case he tried to catch on the Umbreon, but yeah, it was less of a BM in actual practice, even though it looks like one. But at this point, there's not much I could do here. So my ABA Steel Line strategy did not really pan out very well. I think I could have had some play there, but I just had to commit to the Regiseal versus Glaring Stunfisk matchup, and I did not commit to it. So that's on me. But I just wasn't sure if I lived that Earthquake or not. I probably do. It's probably the right play. But that being said, we are going into game number 4 here. It's quite close, and this team is very uncomfortable for mine too, because that Umbreon is just, that Umbreon with that Glaring stuff is kind of messy. I'm actually not really sure why this team is so much worse for me than Conglaser's team. I think I'm not really sure what the biggest difference is here. Conglaser did not have the Frostlass. I think that's what it was. But the Frostlass is actually not that great into my team. As you can see here, I did have that Trevenant lead. And that puts me in a good spot. I should go for the C-Bomb here, which I honestly should just go for the Shadow Ball. I don't think that he would have spent his shield there anyway. So it probably was not the right move. But I'm definitely going to go for the Shadow Ball at this point, especially because I only get one move off here. And I think he lets us go. Yeah, so it didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but I should just go on Shadow Ball right off the bat, I think. It's the better play. He has a Trevenant in the back, and yeah, this is going to be not a great time for him because we are able to lock this in. And he didn't really have a clear Trevenant answer either because he had his own in the back. And I'm going to throw a Shadow Ball here to finish this off. And don't really even need our Registeel for this one. Yeah, I guess he could have potentially shielded it, but it wouldn't have mattered because I still had shield left, and I could just throw another one or go on Registeel. Either way, he's going to concede there, and we're going to a decisive game number 5 here. Have I really brought Medicham? I don't think I have. So I think I finally decided to try to bring Medicham because his team has been, a lot of his teams have been pretty weak, and I didn't think that he was going to bring Frostlass again in the lead, especially after how poorly it performed in the first time around. Or not, that was the second battle he's brought it, but Trevenant was locked into it. But so far he hasn't won a single battle with Frostlass. So I didn't think he'd bring it, and he actually does bring it. So this is actually the worst case scenario for me. And then so I go into my Registeel safe swap as expected here. And right now, I guess it depends on how much I'm trying to preserve this matchup here. He goes straight for the Earthquake. I'm thinking, all right, I'm just gonna let this go and go down a shield here because I need energy on my Medicham with energy is not too bad. But I just need to do something here, right? Because I don't... Oh, yeah. Here's the problem. I don't have a true Frostlass counter. This is my only Frostlass counter. Yeah, this is what I was thinking. So I already knew that I can't go down shields at this point because even if I take out this Glaring Stunfisk, my Registeel is going to be way too low to be able to do anything. So with that said, I do come in with my Medicham and was able to at least counter down here. But this is where it gets really tricky. I have 2 shield advantage here, but I had to go Dynamic Punch. And I knew this was probably an Avalanche, but I had to shield anyway. Probably should just let that go because I know they can't power slowing me down. But I'm really thinking that back end, it's probably a Noctowl in all things considered, or a Medicham. It's probably just a Noctowl, actually, if I were to guess. And so, or sorry, Umbreon. And that's why I end up shielding again because at that point, the Avalanche would have been kind of scary. And I end up throwing an Ice Punch here. And he chooses not to shield. Honestly, if I just threw the Diamond Punch, I probably would have won there because there's no way that Umbreon takes this out and the Noctowl. And then I go for a catch here because I'm thinking, all right, I need this Medicham for the Umbreon. I knew I was catching an Avalanche, so it's not great for me. But the problem is this Noctowl is not going to be able to beat an Umbreon up a shield. So I already knew that, so I'm thinking, all right, I need to come in Medicham. It was not a great catch by any means, but we are able to get to one more Sky Attack, which is kind of nice. But the thing is, I don't think I have enough tank in enough health on my Medicham to finish this off. And it looked like I had some stutter lag there, but it doesn't actually, I think, end up mattering in the end, so I didn't really dispute it. I knew that I was lagging a little bit, Medicham versus Umbreon there, but... yeah, great games from Ramberto there. I don't know. Honestly, if I just threw the Dynamic Punch against the Frostlass, I probably would have just won that match. But a really good read from him to assume that I was baiting there. And yeah. So we are going into the losers finals now. We do take our first loss, but it is a rematch against Conglaser here. So we played him the day before. And it was a 2-1 victory, a pretty close game 3. And so same exact teams here too. He obviously knows my moveset, my Medicham at this point. So again, Medicham in that first game is probably a little risky here. But something I did notice is that he does favor his Umbreon a lot in the safe swap. And I don't know, maybe I think I do actually bring in Medicham in this first game. Something I realized again is using that Registeel as a bait out for that opposing Medicham strategy. So I go like save wide lead and then try to bait out with the Registeel and then just sweep with my Medicham, right? His team has much more counters to that my Medicham than Gucci Gang. So my Medicham's not as strong, but I do go with that team strategy. So I do have that. And then I'm actually going to farm a little extra because again, with Dynamic Punch, I don't really need the to swap right away. This matchup's not that bad because one Dynamic Punch is going to put this very low. And he actually goes last resort there too. I'm actually not really sure why. It does do a little bit more damage in foul play, but it's not as energy efficient. Not really sure, but either way, this is still a winning matchup for me, so that's why I stayed in so long with my Sableye before swapping out. Again, Dynamic Punch is going to do a lot of damage, as you can see here, and we actually, I guess my time is near perfect because I avoid a foul play there, which is kind of nice. I didn't anticipate all that, but I got a little bit lucky in terms of my calculation there, I guess. And even though I don't have Psychic, I'm just going to keep doing these Ice Punches and chip away. Putting it in one foul play range is kind of nice because I could tank any move from this Medicham. And at this point, I'm thinking, all right, pretty much against any possible backline Pokemon, I should be good. And in all likelihood, it's going to be a Noctowl because they swapped out so quickly, right? So that means that they definitely have another clear Sableye answer in the back. And he only has two Sableye answers. It's the Umbreon and the Trevenant. So once we saw the Umbreon, I'm guessing it has to be a Trevenant at that point. And Shadow Ball is going to do the most amount of damage out of all possible moves remaining, so I'm going to just shield it, especially before a potential debuff, and that's exactly what happens. He is going to throw another Shadow Ball here. At this point, I choose to let it go, and then I'm just going to try to take this out with a Focus Blast. Yeah, I don't really want to have to get hit by another Shadow Ball. He's going to let it go, obviously. And I think he's probably just going to concede after this one, because there's not much that this Medicham could do at given the health it has, right? I knew I could probably swap out, so there's no need to mess around with the Noctowl. All right, so a little bit RPS in that first team composition, but again, I was just kind of making a read on his team. And I figured he was probably going to bring Lantern here, so I brought Trev because my whole team was pretty neutral. Lantern had a lot of play, and that's exactly what happened, and we were able to catch it here, right? So again, you could say maybe it's RPS, but I was making a hard read on, or I wasn't making a hard read, I was just making a read on his thought process there, given how weak my team was to Lantern, or how much play Lantern had in that first composition. I figured he was bringing it, and I got a little bit lucky on the lead call, but we are able to grab the Lantern Safe Swap, which is kind of nice. Lantern Safe Swap is probably a little bit risky, but I think he was just banking on me not having Trev. Honestly, if I don't have Trev, Lantern Safe Swap is very, very strong into my team. This is the one thing he doesn't want to see, and fortunately for him, that's exactly what I came in with. And then now he is going to come in with that Trev. I do like it almost stutter lag a little bit, but we are able to get off the Shadow Ball at least, which is kind of nice. I guess the better play is for me to come in Noctowl right away, but I'm thinking, all right, the Lantern's out of the way. The best case scenario is a Galarian Stunfisk, and I don't even mind that because at this point, this Galarian Stunfisk is going to take a lot of Shadow Ball damage, and I just need to put my Sableye in, put it into his foul play range for my Sableye, and I'm fine because I know that Lantern doesn't have much health at this point too, so I don't even mind locking this Noctowl in. So I hard lock it in, and I know these resistant mud shots aren't going to do too much, so we're okay. I could tank some, and yeah, we grab a shield here, which is huge for me. And I know the Lantern's quite low, so he kind of has to throw this energy to have a chance. You can see me rocking a little bit here too on the chair. I think I was just feeling pretty confident at that point. I already knew my win con. And at this point, I knew that there's a little bit of energy on the Lantern. I don't know if I had a move or not, but I know that I'm going to force him to throw the energy if I come in Trev here. I wait on my switch timer so that my Trev wouldn't be locked into this Galarian Stunfisk. I know it's just like maybe 1 or 2 mud shots worth of energy, but at this point, it's no big deal. I just want to maximize as much as possible here. And I'm going to no-shield that Earthquake. It could be a Rock Slide bait. Either way, I know I could tank it, and he has to throw 2 moves. And yeah, we're able to finish it off. So going to game number 3 here, I think I end up playing the same exact line, except I replaced the Trevenant with the Medicham, thinking that maybe he's going to bring the Umbreon or Noctowl this time. And again, this team is very, very strong because I could draw out the opposing Noctowl with my Sableye. And so we actually catch the same, the Noctowl in the lead, which is amazing for me because I have the Sableye and the Medicham in the back, and again, because I have a high rank Noctowl, I was very confident in Mirror. I figured I was probably going to tie the Mirror or win it. So so unless he does something like this where he has to catch a move, I knew I was going to be in a good spot. All right, so here's going to come an Earthquake. I'm going to let this go. Because I do a Sky Attack, I actually don't even need to throw Dynamic Punch here. One Ice Punch will actually do it. So that Sky Attack damage actually came in handy here. So you can see that I end up throwing this Ice Punch. I think I just maxed out energy. I probably could have farmed it a little bit more, but doesn't really matter. Yeah, and we just finish off a counter. And now if they come in and knocked out here, I'm fine because I'm going to do a lot of chip damage, and that's exactly what happens. I mean, it's either Noctowl or Trevenant as the best counters, right? Or Medicham, but if they come in Medicham, I have the Sableye in the back for it, so that's just going to be a game if that's the case. And it catches again, so makes another catch. Great catch from Conglaser here, but he's expending his last and only Noctowl counter, so that's actually kind of nice for me. So again, even though he's catching these moves, I'm maintaining switch advantage here, and that puts me in a pretty good spot. And it's not going to shield the foul play. I'm going to shield the first one because I know that could potentially be a Thunderbolts. And then after this, it should be okay to just let this one go because I know this one's not a Thunderbolts. And he still has to do another move. So it's definitely not over yet, but these Shadow Calls are really adding up against this Lantern. And so he is going to spend a shield here, but this is so low at this point. Even my Medicham has some play into this, and he catches yet again. So 3 catches, but this time he is actually going to shield this, so it actually kind of works out. The catch didn't actually do as much, probably. And I'm going to let this Sky Attack go through. At this point, you can see me nodding again. I'm like, all right, I pretty much have this in the bag because there's not much left on that Lantern. I'm able to finish off this Noctowl. I could just fast move down. I still have a shield, so we're okay. And we are going to sweep in the Losers Finals and go back into a rematch against Ramberto. But yeah, I was feeling pretty good in that entire set. I got made some good reads on my opponent, but that's part of it. So speaking of making reads, it's kind of hard to make reads on Ramberto here. His playstyle is a little bit different than other people, and it's giving me some trouble. So it gave me the most trouble, I think, out of all my battles over this weekend, with obvious reason, right? But again, you see his team there too, and I'm thinking, all right, you know what? He got away with a Frostlass lead last time. He got away with it twice, actually, right? Once I had a Trevenant into it, but twice I lost the lead into that Frostlass. So I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to make sure that he cannot bring that Frostlass. I'm going to scare it off. I'm going to bring my Steel. I'm going to bring my Sableye. I'm going to Registeel, my Sableye in the lead, or Trevenant, right? I'm going to just bring stuff that cannot allow his Frostlass to have any play. And he likes to lead Frostlass in the lead based on the previous games, right? I think he's only had Frostlass in the lead against all 3 of my last matchups when he had Frostlass. So I figured, you know what? We're going to make sure that he doesn't do that, right? And so I actually bring in Registeel and double Ghost here. So I'm thinking, all right, if he has a Frostlass at all, I'm okay. And yeah, this is a okay lead, but I'm going to swap right out because I'd rather draw a Noctowl or something like that, right? And we do draw out the Noctowl, which is kind of nice. I didn't know that he had an Umbreon in the back. I was thinking, all right, if he has Umbreon in the back here, then I just lose. And that's spoiler. That's exactly what happens. There's literally no play. This is like the worst case scenario for me, right? I guess the worst case scenario is really like a Medicham in the lead, or Trevenant actually in the lead. But this is still pretty bad because my 2 backline Pokemon have literally 0 play at this point because I can't maintain switch advantage. Even if I somehow took out the Glare and Stunfisk with my Registeel, there's no hope for my 2 backline Pokemon. It's a pretty strong line, I think, in general, Registeel, double Ghost, but against this team composition, it is not great. And he's been running this composition a lot, and so it's tricky. The reason why, a lot of people afterwards say, like, why didn't you run Medicham lead, right? The problem with Medicham lead is that my Registeel is one of my most reliable counters for that. My Registeel is really strong in this team, right? So I kind of forced to bring Registeel a lot. I mean, I guess there's some composition where I don't have to, but it's just so strong that it just kind of feels like a waste not to. But the problem is if I go Medicham in the lead and he goes Trevenant in the lead, or Medicham, his own Medicham in the lead, I'm in such a tough position. Because I can't really, if I swap to my Registeel, there's no chance of me grabbing shields, or even if I do, I just do not win the matchup no matter what. And so because of that, I I end up not running that Med Champ in the lead. I mean, I think there is some play there, right? Obviously, if I go into this team composition, I would have been fine. But it's a huge gamble for me. It's a huge APA gamble on my end. But at the same time, you can say the same thing about Ramberto gambling with a Glaring Stunfisk in the lead with an Umbra on the back against the Dynamic Punch Medicham. And I think maybe at the end of the day, he was a little bit more gutsy than I was when it comes to team composition. And it paid off, at least in this first game for sure. So we're going into game number 2 here too. I'm trying to figure out what to run at that point. I figured, all right, Double Ghost is pretty hard, especially that Trevenant, right? Trevenant is a little bit harder to bring. It's so much harder to bring into that Umbreon and that Noctowl than my Sableye is. Sableye is not winning into those, but at least has some play. All right, that being said, here comes, and he runs the same team again. I don't actually. I end up swapping out my Trevenant for the Medicham. And at this point, it's not the best case scenario for me. I was hoping to grab the Noctowl, but Noctowl did not come out. I'm really scared there's a Medicham in the back. So with that said, and I don't want to have to dump a bunch of energy with my Registeel into this Umbreon. So my plan is I knew I was going to lose this matchup anyway. He can maintain alignment pretty easily. I end up coming in with Medicham here afterwards to just get a bunch of energy. Because if he has a Trevenant in the back, or he has a Noctowl, I'm in an okay spot. So he's going to snarl me all the way down here, come out with a lot of energy. All right, so we are going to start countering this down. At this point, I can't really spend any shields here because I figured there's got to be a Medicham counter in the back, right? There's no way he doesn't have it with a Glaring Stunfisk lead and an Umbreon. I don't have Switch Advantage anyway and don't want to be locked into a bad matchup, so I'd rather bring this in, come out with a bunch of energy, and be locked into the Registeel matchup. Because I know the Registeel and Glaring Stunfisk matchup is not going to be, it's not as bad for me. So we're going to throw one Ice Punch here, just do some chip damage. Put it in Zap Cannon range. Throw another one, just so I have an Ice Punch banked. I'm going to swap out here. My thought process here with the Ice Punch being banked here is that if I land a Focus Blast, it's not going to be enough to take it out. Take out the Glaring Stunfisk, so I could potentially snipe down with a Ice Punch. And again, it is such a tough call situation. Like, no Ramberto, he would probably be the kind of person to still throw Earthquake right there, but he actually does bait there, which is not great for me. Again, if I get double bait here, I just lose. But I can't risk getting hit by an Earthquake. And at this point, I know that this Earthquake's doing a lot of damage. So, like I said, I have the Ice Punch banked. I'm waiting for a Switch Hammer. I'm like, please, let me just get to it. I'm spamming at it. And I got really lucky and ended up catching this. But even if I don't catch it, I go early. I swap and combo play it by throwing an Ice Punch. But we got super lucky there. And it literally came up like the second it was possible. And that worked out in my favor. So at this point, I'm going to overfarm a little bit because I know he has to throw Earthquake here. And he just spent his energy on an Earthquake. So I should be able to outpace the Focus Blast. That's why I decided to charge up to max before throwing it. And we are able to lock on down anyway. But even if we can't, we get the Focus Blast before he gets the Earthquake. So yeah, that was a tough one, but able to play it out, and wasn't my plan A, but the plan B, catching it on the Medicham, worked out just fine too. All right, we go again into the same matchup, this Registeel into this Glaring Stunfisk matchup. We're going to go for the Focus Blast here. He actually baits a Rock Slide, and I end up no-shielding it. Because I'm thinking, all right, I just counter down with the Medicham, I have a lot of play, yeah, I end up not shielding it. I was expecting an Earthquake, obviously, because he was at the energy. But now I'm going to shield the Earthquakes. And looking at this back matchup, I should have thought it through more. If I maintain Switch Advantage, I should be able to beat anything here, right? Unless they have like a Noctowl and a Medicham in the back. So I guess that's my only fear. And so I'm trying to catch an Earthquake here. Unfortunately, I just got way too fancy here, right? Because I just shield the Earthquake, I lock on down. But instead, we now get in a really tough situation where I'm thinking, all right, well, if they have a Medicham back, I'm in a really tough spot. If they have a Trevenant back, I'm in a really tough spot. And there's a strong likelihood that it could be either of those two things. And so at this point, I'm thinking, or even Frostlass is not great, right? So I'm going to have to do kind of the play I made last time around, which was, counter down the Umbreon. And we able to barely hang out with... to get the Sky Attack off. Again, I have the high rank Noctowl, so it is going to play into my favor. And we're going to counter down at this point. So we're going to counter this all the way down. Again, energy on this Medicham is not too bad. That Glenn Stuffus doesn't have a ton of health left, and he is locking this Trevenant in here. So again, this is kind of one of my fears. Trevenant is pretty good in his backline. I mean, honestly, it has the potential to sweep my Registeel as well. And I don't have a Zap Cannon ready, I know that for sure. I'm going to shield the C-Bomb, which I knew was a C-Bomb, but I just need to grab the shield to potentially give my Registeel some option here. I knew at this point, if I just let him C-Bomb me, I just lose, because they're going to outpace me. So instead, what I do is I need to catch a C-Bomb, and I swap in a little bit past the C-Bomb energy, but end up getting really lucky here. And as you can see, right, if I didn't catch the C-Bomb, they went Shadow Ball here, I just lose, right? But because we were able to expend some of that energy, we're able to throw a Zap Cannon and finish it off, which is perfect. And that Glen Stuff has had some energy left, but we are able to lock on down. A little kind of stutter lag, but he actually caught up there. And we had the judge to look at it afterward, and the judge agreed that he would have still fainted out on the Earthquake, so it wouldn't have mattered. It was just a visual, actually, because, it ended up catching up. But yeah. So, kind of, I probably should have won that one more cleanly after no shielding the Rockside bait, but I kind of made it harder for myself than I needed to. But I guess we made it more exciting. So, we're in a decent spot, one game away from bracket reset, of course. But of course, this is Ramberto, so this next match should go anyway. And it is going to be a knockdown mirror. So again, I'm thinking, all right, this is exactly what I'm hoping for, because I know that I win this mirror matchup here. I do have to watch out for a potential catch here on this Sky Attack, and then that's exactly what he does. So he does catch, which is not great for me because I'm burning a lot of this energy. And we do have the Medicham here at least, so we are able to counter down. I'm a little nervous that there's like an Umbreon on the back. And then here comes an Earthquake here. And yeah, it's not going to be great, but you got to keep track of this energy. Going to throw this Ice Punch before on CMP with the Rock Slide. Don't want to be too low here, because if he has a Medicham in the back, I don't want to be in counter range, right? Or Shadow Claw range for the Trevenant, or just really any range for easy farm down for the opponent. All right, so now this is not great. Medicham coming in. He's going to be able to get a lot of energy off of this, but I can still do quite a bit of damage with these Ice Punches, so I'm just going to keep throwing them. I can't... I guess I could swap out here. I don't know. I don't really want my Sableye on their Noctowl, and he's going to charge him priority here, which is kind of nice for him. But we do have the Sableye matchup, so I'm feeling pretty confident at this point in time. He does throw the Ice Punch here to do a little chip damage. And then now he comes to Noctowl, and as expected, I knew that he was coming in, so I'm going to come in with my own. And then we do get to this Sky Attack. I know that the third Sky Attack here is going to be just 5 wing attacks, so he's going to technically outpace me here. But the problem is I just can't really risk... it's just going to take way too much for my Sableye to take out this opposing Noctowl, so I don't know if this is the best play or not, but I just need the wing attack damage at a minimum here to do something. And he still has 2 shields, right? That's the problem, right? Like, I'm going to take so much wing attack damage if I just bring in the Sableye there. So I did purposely mean to shield, even though I knew I was going to lose CMP here. Yeah, at this point, it's really tough because he still has a shield, so he can just shield through, right? He knows that he's going to lose CMP or not get to move in time, but I pretty much have to Shadow Claw down here, right? Like, there's nothing I could do because if I throw there, he shields, and then he just Sky Attacks still. Yeah, so it's kind of tough. I just had to Shadow Claw down. Unfortunately, I can't really do much there at that point, and he's going to finish me off with the counter. So we do go to decisive game number 5 here for the potential reset, or Ramberto winning it all. Again, I think my thought process was I'm not letting him take me out with a Frostlass here. I'm going to go strong to Frostlass lead. Frostlass is kind of signature Pokemon. Maybe you bring it into game number 5. We'll see. But again, I just don't want to be weak to Frostlass lead. So that's why I brought the Trevenant. But it is actually going to be met with an Umbreon here. And again, that Safe Swap Umbreon is going to be a little tough for him. And I brought my Trevenant there because, again, if he leads Trevenant lead, I'm in an okay spot. If he leads Medicham lead, I'm in an okay spot, right? So that's why, like I said before, leading Medicham with the Registeel in the back is much harder. He does go for Last Resort. It's going to do a little more damage, so I think it's the right call here. He doesn't get to 2 moves anyway. But this energy is really helpful for me. And then now he comes in probably with a Noctowl, but that's really good because I see the third Pokemon. I knew either way I was going to be in a very good spot here. It's unlikely he has a Medicham in the back, right? Because then he's super weak to traveling in the lead. But yeah, and then I'll try to jump a little extra. You see me shake my head a little bit. I probably should go for a Dynamic Punch here. I just didn't think I could get to in time, but it's kind of a panic moment. But either way, we're in an okay spot here. We're just gonna let these moves go through. At this point, I'm okay with just yeah, he still has 2 shields, so I'm gonna throw the first C-Bomb. I'm not sure if he shields or not. He does shield here. I'm gonna go for Shadow Ball next, because even if he shields this, my Registeel has so much play at this point, right? I'm just 1 Shadow Ball away. So I'm gonna shield this I'm just 1 Focus Blast away, right? So I could just save 1 shield for Registeel. I just win this no matter what. So I figure I'll just go for a hard hitting move. If I get a shield, I win. If I don't get a shield, I win because I'm able to Shadow Call down, right? So at this point, I already knew, and we're just going to finish this off. And he actually comes in the Noctowl there. And that's fine. He has a lot of energy on his Noctowl. I probably should have been shielding these Shadow Balls because they're going to do the most amount of damage out of everything remaining. He's not going to get to Earthquake. But I thought maybe, I don't know, he's going to bait. I don't really know what I was thinking. I just keep no shielding these. But I probably should have shielded one of these because now I'm coming close to Sky Attack range. I mean, not really. But, and again, there's no real reason for me to go for a Zap Cannon here. It's just a little bit more energy when I just need to finish off this Noctowl and just win. He goes for a Sky Attack at this point. And I think that he's going to potentially go for a catch, so I just don't throw right away here. And yeah, he comes in and for a catch, but I'm going to counter down, and we're able to finish off Noctowl. So able to do a bracket reset here, which is kind of nice. Was not really anticipating it, but here we are. We're in another best of 5 after this. I know that our first winners finals, maybe there's a little bit of lag on either end there, but it was a pretty clean grand finals, I think, all things considered, which is kind of nice. So I'm grateful for that. I think they switched out some cables and stuff to make it a little better, because there was definitely some latency in the winners finals. All right, like I said, I am not losing to a Frostlass lead here. So we do... yeah, we do CMP at a really weird time, too. Both of us don't really throw our energy. And then we finally throw here. This CMP definitely works more in his favor, so he's forced to sack this. But he doesn't really have a great Sableye counter at this point, so that's kind of nice for me. And he comes in the Galarian Stunfisk. I think I just stay in here. Yeah, I just stay in because I get a lot of value here, and I have the Noctowl. I don't really want the Noctowl against this thing. And I knew that my Noctowl was going to be pretty good. Oh, no, I guess I do shield a swap over. I guess I'm doing the same play where I draw the Medicham. I think it's the right call. But let's see here if he brings in the Medicham, right? So here's the thing, right? Like, you kind of have to bring the Medicham. Like, there's just like, it just doesn't make sense not to, right? And it's a very easy bait out because of that. All right, and because of all that, I have my Noctowl here. Yeah, this is not the best case scenario for me because I still have to take out that Galarian Stunfisk with my Sableye, but the Galarian Stunfisk is kind of low. I should have to probably make some good shield calls or something here. I think I go for a Shadow Ball here because I know it one-shots. If they shield here, then they just lose. He loses final shield, right? And so you see that I'm going to throw like a little bit before he gets the Ice Punch because this is going to do way more. I know Sky Attack's not enough because we're able to finish this off here. I think I no-shield this, yeah. And I think he told me to. He was like, oh, I probably could overfarm that a little bit. I was like, yeah, probably. But at this point, because we have energy still on the Sableye, and we still have a shield too, I could safely shield even a Rock Slide, and I'll be fine. I know that he doesn't get to Earthquake in time. So I'm going to shield up and then finish off with Foul Play, and we should be good. Yeah. So, again, Frostlass, not super great. And I think because I played so many teams good into Frostlass lead, I should have just made the adjustment to go Medicham. But I don't know. I think, again, I was just too psyched out by it. And I probably shouldn't have been so scared to play that. But at this point, we're on game. This was game number 11 against just Ramberto. So I think both of us were maybe not thinking the most clearly. Yeah. But anyway, we can see both of us trying to figure this out. I typically actually lock in my lines pretty quickly, so I probably had something in mind already, but I don't know if it's actually a good idea or not. All right, so we're going into game number 2 here in the bracket reset. Pretty good here, and then he, I remember this matchup very clearly. He save swaps the Umbreon trying to catch a move here. I overfarm a little bit here, and I end up catching a foul play, but I mean, that doesn't really matter because it's still the right move. I'm thinking, all right, I thought that Registeel wins this matchup quite handily, so I wasn't even too worried. I was like, all right, I'm going to overfarm a little bit in the swap later, right? No big deal. But I was surprised, and I definitely learned a hard lesson here. He ends up shielding a Zap Cannon too, which is going to work in my favor, but no attack drop, which is very unfortunate for me. Now I'm like, wait, hold on. Like, am I about to lose this matchup? Like, this is kind of weird. I did not expect this. But it looks like I might be able to. So I'm going to throw a Focus Blast on the next one. I'm thinking, all right, maybe I just shield once or something like that and see what happens. But he has a ton of energy here. And I'm thinking, yeah, no, I don't outpace here. So I'm going to have to let this go. He actually even gets a Snarl for good measure here too. So this is really bad for me. At this point, I already know that it's going to be a knockdown in the back. The only thing that hard checks this Sableye harder than this Umbreon is probably this Noctowl. Yeah, so this is not going to be good for me. I already knew, all right, I need some energy here to do something, right? I need to chunk away this Glitter Stunfisk. I have Shield Advantage. I have energy on my Sableye. Maybe I could do something here. So as you can see, I do come in. I catch a Rock Slide because I knew he had Rock Slide energy. That's kind of nice, working in my favor a little bit. I'm going to throw the foul play here. He catches on the Noctowl, which is not a big deal. It's foul play in return, same energy efficiency. But yeah, this is kind of tough. I am going to go for the return here, and he no shields the return. So that's actually kind of nice. I want to be able to potentially wing attack down this Noctowl. That's probably my win con here. I need some energy for sure. But again, kind of my own misplay there. And this is not great for me because I had to tank Sky Attack. And yeah, this is looking pretty dire here. I'm going to go straight for the Shadow Ball. Maybe I should just throw in a Sky Attack. I don't know. It's just such a risky bait, I guess, at that point. But that thing has so much health left. I need like 3 Shadow Balls at this point. And I already know at this point I'm not going to get to it. So, lesson learned. Swap into that Umbreon right away because, yeah, that was way... I did not think that the Umbreon can even beat the Registeel there, but clearly I was mistaken. And as you can see, even though I got that Shadow Ball, it wouldn't have made a difference. So, yeah, not a great time, but it is what it is. All right. I can't counter swap the Umbreon with the Noctowl. It would have not been great for me, especially down energy. And I knew that he could just maintain switch advantage if he wanted to at that point. So we go into game number 3 here. And yeah, again, this is where the Trevenant lead is super rough for my team because I don't have a clear lead, right? I'm thinking, all right, I have the Medcham in the back. Finally, I could do something if he counter swaps that Umbreon. But unfortunately, it's not going to be the case. And yeah, so this is not good. I'm thinking, all right, I throw a Zapcan and I swap. I think that's my play. Put it in Ice Punch range. And so here comes the Noctowl. And honestly, this doesn't look that bad for me. I don't know. I think looking back on this is, I mean, I still end up losing this. He ends up shielding return too, which is not great. I probably should just gone straight foul play there. I don't know. It just kind of, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I grab a shield from him, which is not the end of the world. So I have a shield advantage at least. And I go for another return. And so getting this return off is kind of nice. But it gets weird because this Noctowl has so much energy now. I can't lock on down this Noctowl. So I do come in here to absorb the Shadow Ball energy. But again, I'm just like, what do I do here? So I'm going to just, yeah. And he throws a Sky Attack right away, which is kind of nice. He probably could Wing Attack me down. So I'm thinking, all right, maybe I have some play here. But again, I don't even know what's in the back at this point. I haven't seen the third Pokemon yet. Here comes the Trevenant, and it's just so unfortunate because I have to shield these Seed Bombs. And yeah, I think this is the problem here. He still has a shield, so he could just do so much damage with these Shadow Claws. Yeah, he shields, right? This is the right call, because if he puts me in Earthquake range, and I haven't seen the Glitter Stunfisk yet, but I kind of just assume it's either Glitter Stunfisk or Umbreon at this point. I'm just forced to shield these Seed Bombs. Maybe I'd let that next one go. I don't know. I just can't counter this down. Oh, that's what happened. Yeah. I had to counter down, right, to have any play because I knew that the Earthquake was going to take me out no matter what. There's just no play. if I don't. And then he comes in with the Glaring Sunfist. I mean, I should throw the Dynamic Punch. I thought that was going to be a Noctowl, so I need to do something. And here comes the Noctowl, but yeah. So yeah, risky line, and it did not work in my favor there, unfortunately. So 2-1 for Ramberto. This could be the final game for sure. And again, I think I was pretty comfortable with that Registeel Sableye Noctowl matchup because again, very strong into Trevenant in the back, and then also very strong into Medicham all around really. So I was thinking, is the Medicham coming? I don't know. Maybe it's a Frostlass. But looking back on it, I probably should have ran some double steel lines with like some like Sableye, Bastion, Registeel, because that Umbreon safe swap, they can't overcome the Bastion at least, right? Yeah. Anyway, you know, we live and we learn. We don't end up going into that, and I end up going into this matchup with Registeel, Sableye, and Noctowl. Or no, maybe it was Sableye, Registeel, and Noctowl. I think that's what it was. Because again, my Sableye is pretty strong. All right. Little fist bump for the last potential game. And going in here, we are going in, and it's going to be a Glaring Stunfisk lead. It's that same Glaring Stunfisk Umbreon Noctowl line. I mean, it's smart, right? Especially after bringing that Trevenant. He thinks he probably scared away my Medicham lead, which he definitely did. And okay, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to make a mistake this time around. I'm going to swap straight away to Registeel. I'm going to maintain alignment. I know there's a Noctowl in the back already, right, at this point. Which is not a great matchup for me because I'm going to be behind energy. But at least we have the mirror matchup, right? And I was like, I need a debuff and no debuff. I'm just like, dude, what are the odds of this? I mean, 33% chance of no debuff, right? But I was like, I need to land a debuff here. And he does shield here at least, which is kind of nice. I'm going to start shielding here too. Man, look at this. Like, I don't know if he has a break point with Snarls or what, but this is just like the worst matchup I've ever seen for Registeel. I thought this was a clean matchup for Registeel versus Umbreon, but it is not. He shields 2 Zapkins, and I don't get a debuff on either of them. At this point, I'm just like, wow. I just straight up lose his matchup, I guess, because I do not outpace. We get to 1 Focus Blast here, but it is not going to be enough to take out this Umbreon. And I can shield once, but he's going to have no, like you can see here right away, like I'm not going to be able to lock on down this Umbreon, because you can see if I shield here, he gets to Foul Play in 1 more Snarl. Yeah, so there's just no way. Yeah, very unfortunate, but you know that's how RNG works. I got double Zapcan debuff against Gucci Gang earlier, so and that got me this far, so I think it happens. He goes for the Earthquake, which is a really smart move because he knows I probably don't shield it. But that allows him to farm down my Noctowl, or my Sableye, which is not great. Gonna go for the hard hitting return. I don't know. Maybe Foul Play would have been better, but no, I think that's the right call because I don't get the 3, I think. So if I go and throw 2 moves, that's the right play. He's going to try to minimize my farm a little bit here, which is a smart play. But I can't shield the Sky Attack, of course. And yeah, we are able to Wing Attack down at least. But again, my Noctowl is pretty bulk weighted, so I don't have that breakpoint with Wing Attack. And I already knew at this point, I was like, I pretty much lost. Like, as you can see, like these Wing Attacks are not going to do enough damage for this next Shadow Ball to take him out. And I know I don't get to Sky Attack in time. Like, there's no way I get to Sky Attack before he gets to 2 Rock Slides. So he's going to build up to 2. At this point, I was like, that's probably GG's. There's no way. And I think he knows as well. So, really well played from Roberto. I mean, that Glaring Stunfisk was pretty low in health, actually. But I think that was at least 2 or 3 Wing Attacks away still. Yeah, tough luck on the debuffs there. Probably should have just brought Bastiodon or Medicham in the back, but it'd be like that. So, anyway, great games to him. And, yeah, that was my analysis and thought process of what was going on through my mind throughout all these battles at San Diego. If you made it through an entire hour of battle analysis footage there, feel free to drop a comment down below. I'm really curious if anyone's made it even to this point. Write in the comments, I can't believe Bastion beat that Glaring Stunfisk. That way it'll probably confuse some people reading the comments, but hey, they didn't make it this far, so they don't know what you're talking about. Thank you for watching, and hopefully this was helpful for those to understand my thought process and maybe your own prospects in these future tournaments. And if you do participate, I wish you the best of luck, and I give you even a bigger shout out if you end up running Bastion yourself. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye.